Hi sewing friends, welcome to my channel RoCanSew. I'm Ro, and in this episode I'm going to share with you one of my recent makes, the Know Me 2052 jeans. So these are my jeans. I was drawn to this pattern because of the large patches on the front and the back pant legs. I had some 100% cotton denim left over from a previous project from several years ago, and I had a basket of a lot of unworn or unwearable denim jeans that I cut up for parts so that I could make the patches for the front and the back of the pants and the belt loops. So I created all of my patches by just randomly picking pieces of the cut up scrap denim and sewing them wrong sides together. I initially sewed a very short stitch length because I knew I would be pressing the seams open, and I also sewed them wrong sides together because I knew I wanted all of the seams to be exposed. I then pressed the seams open and I did a decorative stitch down each of the junctions or the seam lines. Voiceover row here. I thought that I would just insert a little clip that I took of myself sewing the patches together. That way you could kind of see what I was talking about. I just sewed the pieces wrong sides together with a short stitch length. I pressed the seams open and I top stitched down that seam. The patches were assembled, and then the patches were adhered to the pant leg. I wanted exposed seams on the patches also, so I just placed them in position according to the pattern instructions, and I just stitched along the seam line. I did a straight stitch to secure them in place, and then I did some zigzag stitching and some top stitching, one to just further secure them, and two to create a barrier so that the fraying wouldn't go fully into the patch. I knew that I wanted to do some hand stitching, so I went back and I stitched along all of the seam lines, adhering the patch to the pant leg, because I was concerned that if I did hand stitching on the patch after it was attached to the pant leg, that the two layers of fabric might shift around. So I think I have some images to show what I'm talking about. As for the side front pieces and the pocket opening, I did some decorative top stitching here. I did a triple stitch, then I did a single row of stitching, and then whatever this honeycomb stitching is, I did that over top. And for the side front pieces, I just drew some chalked lines and I followed it with my presser foot, and I just built off of that, lining up one stitch line with the edge of the presser foot, moving my needle over as far as I wanted to, just to create some variation in the stitching there. And I put both side fronts through my machine like I've seen quilters do, so that the two side fronts would mirror each other and would make them more uniform when I put them on pants. The belt loops came from the side seams of the scrap jeans that I had cut up to make the patches from. I just zigzagged along either side of that seam allowance and used that as my belt loops. The back yokes I created the same way that I did the side front pockets. I just chalked a few lines, ran it through my machine, tried out some different stitch options, and top stitched it a little bit decoratively also. These are the back pockets. The back pockets had to be completely hand stitched prior to putting them on the pants, otherwise you wouldn't be able to use them. If I had hand stitched all the Sashiko, I think that's how you say it, stitch lines. I did a combination of patterns from a book. I'll insert a picture of the book that I used and I'll put it down in the description box. I used some patterns that, you know, like this one that came from the book, and then there's some patterns like this one. I just sort of made it up as I went along. I also added some machine stitching in here for some variation, and I've used both black DMC pearl cotton and some white and blue crochet thread. All the items that I had on hand. I've really been trying to just work with what I have on hand. The bottom of my patches sit very low to the hem of my pants, and that's just because I did not shorten the pants prior to cutting my fabric out, because again, I just was not sure how long I wanted my hem length to fall. And I have some images that hopefully I can insert where when I completed the pants initially, the hem length fell right around my ankle. And in the pictures, they look okay. I asked my Instagram friends what they thought, whether I should go shorter or longer. I tested adding a little bit of fabric to the bottom hem just to see how I liked the added length. And I did like that initially, but then when I ran my jeans through the wash, which is after you fray, I should have mentioned this before, but after you fray all of the seam lines to get the really soft, fluffy look, running it through the washer and the dryer is what does that. So after I added the bottom chunk of fabric to the hem and I ran it through the wash and I tried them on, I didn't like the way that looked. That's just not where I normally wear my pants. It's not a normal hem length for me, and my ankles felt weird. Could have just been the time of year because it's the end of winter where I am, so my ankles weren't used to being exposed. But I kind of sat on it for a few weeks, tried them on every couple of days, and assessed how I was feeling that day. I ended up just chopping a few inches off and thinking they would make very good spring and fall pants. And I think I can kind of squeak them out in the winter with a pair of boots. I might need some very tall socks or some leggings if it's too cold, because the boots that I have come very close to the bottom hem of the pants. I'll insert a video of me wearing the pants and moving around so you can kind of see how the fabric moves on my body. I will say, because my base denim was so heavy and then layering those very long patches on the fronts and the back of the pant legs, I had concerns initially about the pant legs being so thick that I thought I might not be able to easily or comfortably bend my legs. But it turns out after a few times through the wash, they've softened up quite a bit, and they're very bendable. They're very comfortable. Size-wise, I made a size 10 with no initial size modifications. I'm only 5 feet tall, so typically I have to remove length from the big 5 patterns, but I did not remove any length prior to cutting my fabric out, and there were a few reasons for that. One was that I really didn't know where I wanted the hem length to fall when I was finished, and 2, I was very eager to get started on piecing the patches together. So I didn't make any adjustments to the general length for those reasons, and I also did not make any adjustments to the crotch line. Now, I have learned through some of the big 5 patterns that being petite, I do sometimes have to remove about a ½ inch between the waist and the crotch curve. I did not do that on these pants, and again, part of that was just because of the denim being so heavy and thick. I didn't want to make that area too tight, because one of the other issues that I've noticed with some of the big 5 patterns is that sometimes the front crotch can have excess fabric in it, and the back crotch can be the opposite of that, and I didn't want to run into any kind of wedgie situation back there. So I did not remove any length, just because, again, the denim was so thick. I was concerned for how that would fit on me if I were to take too much fabric out and make it too fitted, as it were. In the video that I'm showing you, I have it I have my jeans paired with the white Agustina Boxy top and a denim Ilford jacket from the Friday Pattern Company. Both of those were makes from several years ago, but I think that they work with my jeans. I would definitely make these pants again. I'm really proud of my pants. I think they're comfortable to wear. I enjoy wearing them. And yeah, I think that's it. Well, I guess that's all I have for you today. So thanks so much for your time. Thanks for watching. Like this video if you like the video, and consider subscribing, please, if you want to see more content from me. And till next time, happy sewing. Bye.